Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 1450.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about the Santa Claus rally was canceled. Now, that's not fun to say, but that's exactly what happened. The Santa Claus rally is typically the 5 final trading days of the year and the first 2 days of the next year, but it failed to materialize. That doesn't mean we're not optimistic about this year, but it's just one indicator on Wall Street that has been used over the years that says this might not be a positive year. This is after stocks had 5 consecutive negative return days after having a sharp move up after the election. It's not unusual to have a correction and to have a pullback after stocks have moved up so much. But the question is, how are they going to do this year? Now, the interesting thing is, while the S&P 500 pulled back in the first trading session of the new year on Thursday, that's happened in the last 2 calendar years. And as we know, we had a 24% gain in the S&P 500 in 2023 and a 23% gain in the S&P 500 in 2024. So 2 almost back-to-back years of double the average performance of the S&P 500, which is phenomenal and fairly rare in history. So while in the first trading session of this year, the S&P 500 pulled back, that also happened in those 2 monster S&P 500 performance years. And both of those years went on to register gains over 20%, as I said. So you can't judge the first trading day as a guide to the rest of the year, of course. But many people do look at the Santa Claus rally, which isn't looking good, and then again at the first full week of trading in January, as well as the first month of trading in January. Are those going to be positive returns? Well, to have a positive return for the first week of January, we would have to have the S&P close today at 59.74 to avoid a failing rally. So the S&P would need to close about 1% higher than where we are as I record this. And the S&P is already up just slightly under 1% for the day, so it needs one more additional percent to close in positive territory for the week. Some of what has caused the negativity in the last several days is a strong dollar. Now, regardless of a lot of people calling for a weak dollar, the opposite has been happening. Over the last couple of years, the dollar has actually strengthened. It's usually a falling dollar that helps the stock market, not a rising dollar. So that's been a negative. And the other negative is the hawkish tone that the Fed used to cut interest rates. You see, even though they cut interest rates, they talked about inflation being sticky. And the hawkishness means they're not going to as easily cut interest rates in the future as if they were dovish. If they were dovish, that would mean they would easily be able to cut interest rates in the future. But being hawkish means they're sort of grudgingly cutting interest rates at this point in time until inflation is lower toward their 2% target or the job market gets much weaker. Federal Reserve President Thomas Barkin said with the economy in a good place and various levels of uncertainty ahead, that he and his colleagues can be patient in their approach to monetary policy. He said, "My baseline outlook is positive. How economic policy uncertainty resolves will matter. But with what we know today, I expect more upside than downside in terms of growth." On the economic front, the ISM Manufacturing Index came in at 49.3 for December. That was above expectations of 48, but is still below the level of 50 that signifies expansion in the sector. So we are in a contracting economic scenario right now. Capital Economics senior markets economist Diana Iovanov wrote to clients, "A banner year for the S&P 500 may be followed by another in 2025. After a stellar 2024, we expect another strong year for U.S. equities in 2025 on the back of continued enthusiasm about AI and U.S. exceptionalism. Meanwhile, we think equities elsewhere will generally fare poorly owing to another trade war." So after the Dow being down about 1.4%, the S&P being lower by 1.7%, and the Nasdaq dropping by 2.2%, it looks like they're starting to recover a little bit. A down week for the first week of January can correlate with a higher chance of a down stock market at the end of the year, as can a negative performance month of January correlate highly with a negative stock market for the end of the year. But they're not 100%. And as I've told you, this is the fifth year of the decennial cycle, which tends to have an upward moving stock market year. And also for most assets, real estate, digital assets, bonds, etc. So I'll keep reporting back to you and let you know how it's going. Until then, Happy New Year, and may 2025 bring you health, peace, and prosperity. If you're thinking about your finances for next year, and making some important decisions about who's going to be guiding you in those finances, consider joining the Be Wealthy and Smart VIP Experience, my personal investing insight group. Members of the VIP Experience join once and then have lifetime access to invest with me for years to come. It includes monthly live webinars with me with live Q&A for me to answer questions, an asset allocation model for your stock portfolio, so you know exactly what to invest in with symbols and what percentages to invest. And in addition, we offer a full crypto portfolio of cryptocurrencies to invest in, as well as private equity. So companies before they have an IPO or initial public offering. Buying them as a private business can often be a very lucrative investment if you're an accredited investor. We also have our own tech team. So we have individuals that can help you one-on-one to get you unstuck from any crypto situation you might find yourself in, whether that's setting up a wallet, transferring crypto, getting your first purchases made on exchanges, setting up limit orders. Our tech team is there to help you. We also have a private Facebook group where I interact many times a day with people and share articles, updates, market commentary, and interact with the greater VIP community. If this is something that is of interest to you, check out our limited time offer in the show notes below.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.